Welcome to the Heavy Debriefings podcast.
We are Josh Runquist and the Metal Faerie,
A fun-loving metal couple that brings you the best in new music.
What did you just make me listen to? As well as movies.
3 hours later, nothing of value was added. TV.
It's going good, so why not cancel it? Video games.
Here's an idea. Remake the game, but make it worse. Wrestling.
Why are we still watching this week after week? And all things entertainment.
I knew it. I knew she was behind Black Guy Gates. And a little insight into our personal lives. You don't mind that I trauma dump on you, do you?
Emotional support girlfriend, party one. He's a handsome fella.
I know, you keep telling me. We're made for each other, because no one else would have us. Enjoy the show. Hey everybody, this is Josh Runquist here for the Heavy Debriefings podcast, episode 33, which I'm calling Slayer. I barely know her. And of course, that laugh is courtesy of
The Metal Faerie.
How are you doing right now?
Oh, I'm just A-okay. How are you?
I was doing really bad last night, but I'm doing better now.
Well, good.
It's kind of a mixed bag of emotions right now. Sometimes
understand.
I feel a little bit better, sometimes I feel a little bit rough. But I'm so glad we decided to start recording here on this Friday night instead of waiting for Sunday, because we got so many things to cover.
We do.
And we might as well cover them while they're still kind of fresh in our mind.
Why not? Why not?
We got so much news, we got so much music. We had to pull an audible for our theme of the week.
We did.
And you'll see what that is
Yes.
when we get there, or if you just look at the chapter selection. Whatever way you want to go about it. But of course, before we get into any of that, we have to probably do the most amount of this we've probably done on the show so far in 33 episodes.
Yeah.
It is, of course, the news.
The news.
It's time for the news.
Booze, drugs, guns, lies, blackmail, and laughter.
With anchorwoman, the Metal Faerie, and co-host Josh Runquist.
And look out at the corner of 12th and Main because I'm gonna be sick.
So where do we even begin with all of this slabs of news that we got going on?
We do have a lot of news.
Do we start with the celebrity death? We always seem to start off with that.
As is tradition in Heavy Debriefings, that is where we will start.
Right.
Yes, we had one celebrity death. Unfortunately, Vitaly Capri, if I'm saying his name correctly, from Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the keyboard player, passed away at age of 49 just.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And at least the last time I checked, there was like no cause of
Yeah.
what happened, or at least it hasn't been released. And to me, that always comes off as a little bit better to me.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I just don't want to know what the cause was.
That's true.
He was a part of a lot of really cool Italian progressive bands as well, but of
Yeah.
course his big break was in Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and you know he's been there from the get-go, and
Yeah.
you know it's really sad.
Super sad.
I mean, like everyone in TSO is extremely skilled at what they do.
Oh, yeah.
I also remember my band teacher growing up hating Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Why?
Because he didn't think that metal belonged in Christmas music. And he thought it was just like overrated and stupid.
Jeez.
But he loved Mannheim Steamroller when
Oh,
they did,
of course.
when they did their version of
The
it.
superior of the two, of course.
Oh, but yeah, 49 is way too young.
Way too young.
And as I'm creeping up closer and closer to the age of 49, that scares me just a little bit more every time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll continue with music-related news.
Sad news or happy news are we going with?
Well, I mean, neither one of them are exactly happy. So, unfortunately, Paolo from Flesh God is leaving Flesh God.
Yes.
Oh, why? Why, Paolo? Why?
Well, the reason giving was he had to get a second job during the pandemic
Yup,
when Flesh God Apocalypse was no longer able to tour during the pandemic like every other band. And that kind of just shows that even a band like Flesh God did not have the means to be able to just support themselves just through music, through touring. They had to have another way of income.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, his second job has just become more of a priority.
I mean, totally understandable. I know he just got married last year too, so lots of good things going in his personal life, but I'm super sad to see him leave Flesh God.
I am too. And he was the thing that was either going to make or break Flesh God when I showed them to you for the first time.
Oh, yeah?
Because it was his falsettos.
Yeah.
And I didn't know enough about you at the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, is she going to like this or is she not going to like this?
Yes.
But thankfully, you
Yes.
loved Paulo's voice.
I love his voice. And of course, now Veronica is going to be be taking over his vocals as well.
All clean vocals going forward. She's going to be so when you hear the Violation, she's going to be doing the clean vocals now.
Yeah, that's
which is insane to think about.
I love her. I love her voice. She is amazing. So I'm very curious to see what this sounds like.
And also, Francesco has basically done every single thing in the band now.
Yeah, because he's going to be playing bass now.
Yes, he's going to be playing bass. So, if the time comes, I'm guessing he's going to switch over to piano and keyboards at some point if that happens.
If Veronica leaves, he might do some operatic vocals. He's multi-talented.
He can do everything.
He can.
He's proven it. Like, he learned how to play drums in 18 months to be able to play the speed that he did on Agony.
Ridiculous.
18 months.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't do that now, and I've been playing since I was 9.
Yup.
Now he's playing bass, which I know isn't that much different than guitar. I mean, it's different enough, but it's 2 less strings, playing along with the drums, all that kind of stuff. But it's gonna be interesting. I mean, are we gonna go see them again?
Maybe. Depends on what they're playing.
I mean, we didn't see anything from the Volano stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
And that is their best album.
I would
like to see that.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I mean, the one that happened last year was just so perfect.
Yeah.
To me, like Obscura, Wolfheart, and Tholkandra, but it was at a venue I'd never even heard of.
Yeah.
It was snowing,
Yeah.
and I still felt very, very uncomfortable around Bull with pandemic stuff like that.
Right.
How are you feeling about that now?
About people?
Yeah,
stuff?
like, are you feeling any better about the pandemic stuff?
If I can be in a place where I don't have to be immediately by them, like if there's a lot of people there, that's one thing, but if you're like stuck in the middle of them, that I don't feel comfortable with. But if it's enough space that I can like be on the outskirts and kind of have my space still or get away from the crowd if I need to, that's a possibility for me.
We're just gonna do what we did at Station 4 when we went to shows separately before we met each other, and we're just gonna hang out in the back corner where no one is.
Exactly.
We also did that when we saw shows at the Skyway. We found a table there and we just sat there and just enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Although, unfortunately, during our last show, Demons Wizards, I'd like to pretend Lizzie Borden is the last band that we saw live.
Yes.
And Tear.
Yes.
But at least we kind of had that railing we could lean on.
That is true.
Unlike the Star Troopers and the Family Guy version of Star Wars, they couldn't even get
All
a railing.
All they wanted
to lean
was
on.
a railing.
Well, nothing. It's not gonna matter because one day they're gonna be famous singers.
Exactly. I hope they became famous singers.
Too. So what else do we got?
Last piece of music news is Slayer is now playing festivals again.
How could you not say that that's good news? You said before all of this there's not really any good news.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm personally not a Slayer fan, so this isn't good news for me.
For anyone not aware, during your birthday episode,
yes.
we did the worst bands in your opinion list, and Slayer was on there, and they made it pretty far. They did not take the top spot.
No.
You should go back and check that one out if you want to know who that is.
Yes.
But yeah, Slayer, I know they at least beat the first round into the worst bands. So.
And I mean, honestly, depending on the day, any of those bands could be at the top for me, so...
Yeah, all those bands. But from what I understand, it's the lineup that happened when they broke up. So Kerry King, Tom Araya, Paul Bostoff, and Gary Holt of Exodus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And all of this is so weird because Kerry King released his first solo single 2 weeks ago.
Yup.
So is the band done? Or...
And he also went on quite a few tirades lately about how...
Yeah, like Dave Lombardo's dead to him. Yeah. He hasn't talked to Tom Araya since they broke up.
Right.
Well, those were lies, apparently.
Yeah, yep. I mean, what next? Is Sebastian Bach and Rachel Bolan gonna get back together?
Is Kiss gonna get back together?
Maybe. Who knows? Ugh.
Is Motley Crue gonna get back together for another reunion tour? Is Mick Mars gonna rejoin Motley Crue?
Maybe. Who knows?
Oh, and speaking of that, I saw an article today because of Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Apparently, Howard Stern considers John Five one of his favorite guitarists now.
Why?
I didn't look enough into it, but I just wanted to get your opinion on why.
Howard Stern has the worst music taste ever.
Not ever. I mean, there's worse music taste out there.
But it's high
for anyone who considers himself a rock and roll fan.
Yeah,
he has a terrible
he's
taste in
so
music.
stuck up his own butt.
Yes. But it's just weird, like John, does he listen to John 5 solo music, or did he just hear like Motley Crue solos and it's like, wow, he really nailed those. He's become one of my favorites.
Oh, goodness.
All right, well, that's what we got for the music news.
Yes, so a little bit of TV news. We just found out earlier today that The Boys is coming back June 13th. Oh, I can't wait.
We saw the trailer back November, December, sometime in the holidays.
Yeah.
And it got me very, very excited.
Yes.
And now officially that they're going to be coming out right in the summertime, that makes me very excited.
Absolutely.
Although one thing to keep in mind is they drop episodes weekly. It's not all at once.
That is true.
So we might be holding off until all of them are done.
Maybe, or maybe we'll watch because we don't want to have it spoiled for us.
That's another thing too, because there were spoilers aplenty every time that
Yeah.
a new season of The Boys was going on, but I did not pay attention because I wasn't watching.
See, I'm learning this lesson because Love is Blind is going on Netflix right now, and we currently don't have Netflix, and I'm seeing all the spoilers every single time an episode drops.
So are we getting Netflix again, is what you're saying?
At some point.
Well, we gotta by next year because the WWE Network's gonna be on there.
Right.
But no, I'm super excited for The Boys. That's one of my new
too.
favorite obsessions.
We still have to watch a spin-off show, too.
Yeah, well, there's more than one spin-off
Is there
show.
now? Okay.
Yeah, there's Gen V, and there's like a cartoon one, and then there was... just look on Amazon Prime.
Well,
there's like several different
Buckle
spin-offs.
up, Buttercup. Let's do some of that tonight.
Maybe. We'll see where we're at.
Okay. Other piece of movie news / also gaming news. We saw the Borderlands trailer.
Yes, directed by Eli Roth,
Yeah.
one of my most hated directors of
Yes.
all time. If he's not making torture porn, he's making some of the worst horror movies ever made. But my problem, as I've said many a times,
Yes.
I said it during Thanksgiving, for the movie review of Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and I say it every time that we see an Eli Roth movie, he makes every character unlikable.
Yeah, he does.
And there was very little Borderlands in this Borderlands trailer.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played Borderlands myself, but I've watched you play it quite a bit.
Yeah, you've watched me a lot.
So I don't know necessarily the storyline that well, but yeah, I mean...
Well, the story is like it's a ragtag group of people that go searching for something known as vaults because it has all this different kind of money and weapons and all this stuff. And it's the best way to be able to make money. It's the hardest way, but it's the best way to be able to make a ton of money.
Yeah.
And it's all the adventures that go along with it, usually on the planet of Pandora, which is a terrible desert wasteland of a planet where the first several Borderlands games take place, but not Borderlands 3, because that goes into multi-planets and stuff like that. It seems like they're telling their own story instead of following the games in this one.
Yeah.
Because there's characters that don't appear in the first game that are in the movie. Tiny Tina shows up in Borderlands 2, not 1.
But she's in the trailer.
There's no Ellie.
Yes, where is Ellie? Come on, represent. Yo.
Her mom is there, Moxie.
Right?
And she doesn't have big boobs.
Yep.
Unless they digitally add them later. I did not see the boobies.
Maybe.
And that's one of the biggest things about her. She's such a flirt, so she makes money. And, basically showing everything but the nips. Kevin Hart is Roland, who's supposed to be like this 6'7", 300-pound massive military guy. Played by Kevin freaking Hart.
Yeah, no.
Who's the shortest one of the entire cast. Jamie Lee Curtis is taller than Kevin Hart.
Claptrap's shorter, but...
Well, he's not he's a machine.
I know.
And Jack Black is Claptrap.
Yeah, Claptrap looks cute, but Jack Black...
Well, I know you don't like him, but he was Bowser.
I know.
You didn't mind Bowser.
It's
you
true.
even like the Peaches song.
It's true. The thing that I just hate about this trailer is it's yet another trailer that they just slap a classic rock song over and just put this group together to go have a nice little romp.
And what a choice of a song as well.
I know. Ugh.
Like, why that one?
I don't know.
I thought for sure it was going to be like Fortunate Son by Creedence or something like that, because it just seems like it with all the guns and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I mean, is Eli Roth going to do a cameo in this? I know he likes to put himself in the movies once in a while.
Probably.
Is Danzig going to be in it? Because I know him and Eli Roth are friends.
Oh, jeez, I hope not.
Who would Danzig play in Borderlands?
His vampire character from from
Death Rider.
Death Rider.
In the House of Vampires.
Yes, that will come over to this universe.
Well, if that's the case, then Danny Trejo needs to come back too.
Well, yeah, of course.
I feel like he should have played Marcus, the one who sells all the guns on Pandora.
I'm Marcus.
But, I'm Marcus. But, no, they didn't get Danny Trejo for that. I figured with all the Eli Roth movies that he did that could have happened, but... Yeah. Although he is in Yakuza, or Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
That is true.
He is a gang leader in that, so
true.
I'll take that.
Exactly.
But, are we gonna go see it? Probably.
I mean, we're gonna see it, yeah, but we'll MSD see it.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's no release date on it.
Of course.
Yeah, so, and they've been working on this movie for years.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And they did all the filming years ago. So it's all the special effects stuff they've been doing in the meantime.
Yup.
Which gives me grave concern about the quality of
As
this.
it should. As it should.
Though, I will say,
yeah,
we felt the exact same way about Twisted Metal.
That is true. That is true.
And we ended up loving that.
That's true. That's true.
And there was another movie where the trailer was just abysmal, and then we ended up liking it. I forgot what it was.
I don't know.
But trailers suck now is the point I'm trying to get at.
Absolutely.
And much to like you mentioned, it's always a classic rock song that is drawn out, orchestrated for some reason, instead of like using original music. And yeah, it feels like it's meant to be a popcorn flick where you don't take anything seriously.
Yeah.
But there's all this back lore to it. It seems like they're completely ignoring. And of course, Tiny Tina.
Yes, yes.
She doesn't look 8 years old in this one.
No.
No, she looks like she looks like she's from Borderlands 3 when she's like in her mid-20s.
Yeah, at least.
So none of it makes sense to me.
Nope.
Are they just gonna tell all 3 Borderlands games in the movie? I don't know. I gotta get out of this.
Well, Howard, let's move on to some gaming news. First up, there's a couple games that have been announced that there's gonna be live service versions of. So Twisted Metal, first of all, there's gonna be a new live service game of. And then finally, Crazy Taxi will be having a live service game that's kind of including a mode that's kind of like the Nintendo Tetris that came out.
Well, I think we should have separated these.
Okay, that's fair.
But with Twisted Metal, it's basically going to be an online game where you play against other people.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed it for the single player aspect, and I always will, because I was there from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But times have changed. I totally understand. Now, is it going to be free to play, or are you going to pay for it?
Well, that's the question.
That's a huge difference here. And the one thing that does make me very disappointed about that is when it's a live service, it means it's always online. So when the servers are down, you can't play it.
Yup.
And when they shut the servers off, that game is lost forever.
Exactly. Your money is gone.
Now, based off of Twisted Metal, would that be something you'd be interested in, playing the video game version of it?
I mean, I think it could be fun, but I wouldn't buy it, no.
What if it's free to play?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. Now, something that might be of more interest is Crazy Taxi.
Yes.
Apparently there's going to be a regular mode in there as well. But they are doing the thing where it's going to be like Tetris and Mario Kart and Super Mario, all these different ones that they had on the Switch where it was online and you compete against other people.
Yes.
At the same time. So basically, if you know Crazy Taxi, it's about getting as many fares to their destination as possible. So I can only imagine, following those aspects of it, that the game is going to follow suit, and if you're at the end of it, you're going to get eliminated every time, and so we get the number one Crazy Taxi driver.
I'd imagine, yeah.
So how about that?
That one I'd be interested in, especially depending on what music they have playing with it.
Yeah, and with the live version, are they even going to be playing music on there? That's another question.
That's the question, yeah.
I mean, like, when I showed you the original Crazy Taxi, I mean, that was the perfect soundtrack for you. It was Bad Religion.
Yep.
And The Offspring.
Yes.
What more could you possibly ask for?
Nothing.
Yeah. Man, I wanted one of those original arcade versions of Crazy Taxi so bad.
Yeah.
But they're so friggin' huge and stuff like that. But
inexpensive.
Inexpensive, but it's just, it would have been so cool. But I have the game again on Dreamcast and Crazy Taxi 2. Don't have Crazy Taxi 3, which I just realized is only available on the original Xbox.
Okay.
Maybe it's backwards compatible. I don't know. We got a Series S, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But anyways, what do we got now?
So as we talked about in a previous episode, there was the announcement by Xbox that a few of their games were going to be moving over to PlayStation and the Switch as well, because they're games that don't sell well on Xbox, and they have been announced.
Yes, all 4 have been announced.
Yes, so we got Grounded.
Which let's go over this one by one.
Okay.
Grounded was a game that I played for a very small bit on Xbox. It's kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in your backyard.
Okay.
So you're a very, very tiny little thing, and you go up against like spiders and ants and other kinds of stuff like that, trying to get yourself big again.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a kid-friendly kind of thing.
Okay.
That's gonna be just on the PS5.
Okay. Up next, Pentiment.
Pentiment, this is a very story-driven RPG game. It's in a very strange 2D kind of art, kind of like a Renaissance kind of feel behind it. It's a lot about real history and Catholic religion kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a very polarizing game.
Yeah.
Because the ones who created the game were probably best known for creating Fallout New Vegas, and and this is not it. And, also a game kind of similar to that, The Outer Worlds, which I thoroughly enjoyed. This is a completely different kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But that's going to be on the Switch and PS5.
Okay. And then Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves, created by Rare Games. Of course, I will always know them best for creating Conker's Bad Fur Day. But then they got bought by Xbox, coming up in around 2 decades, if it's not over 2 decades by now.
Yeah.
This is basically a pirate game.
Okay.
You travel on the ocean, you go to different islands. It's got like a really kiddie aesthetic to it. A lot of people say it's fun now. It originally wasn't fun, but they added stuff to make it fun, I guess. I haven't played it because it's live service. That is also going to be PS5 only.
Okay. And then finally, Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush is a fighting game that's also a rhythm game at the same time.
Okay.
So you have to follow the music and punch and kick at the same time. So it's kind of like Rapapa the Rapper.
Okay.
Kick, punch, kick, punch. Apparently a lot of people liked it. I never played it for that reason. And I believe that's going to be on the Switch and the PS5.
Okay.
Any of those sound interesting to you at all?
Not really.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, I mean, about what I expected when I heard their announcements. So.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense. Like, it's the games that aren't selling well anymore. It's properties that, we can milk this out a little bit more instead of just keeping it for ourselves. Yeah. And it's smart. Yeah. And it might get a new fan base from other platforms and stuff. But I also know it's going to be a trial by error or trial by fire kind of thing where, every IP going forward, it's probably going to start on the Xbox and then like a year later, if it didn't sell well, maybe you'll go to other platforms. Maybe the Switch 2, whatever that's going to be called at the time.
The Switcheroo.
The Switcheroo. Or the PS5, or even the PS6 when that happens. A lot of people were going ape-poopy about that as well, because higher-ups at PlayStation have said that the PS5 is half past its life cycle. So people think that they're not going to try anymore.
Exactly.
Which is dumb, because they still want to sell games for it.
Well, yeah.
And this year's kind of sucked. Or not this year, this generation has kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Because even Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth had a PS4 version.
Oh, did it?
And it's 2024.
Oh, yeah.
Granted, I'm playing on the best version of a PS4, known as a PS5.
Right.
But, there hasn't been that many original games for PS5 only.
That's true.
Which does suck.
That's true, yeah.
And the pandemic was a huge part of that.
Oh, yeah.
But I totally see in the next few years, all of that is going to change. And then the PS6 is going to come out, and it'll probably be the same thing.
Probably.
And, whatever happens with the next iteration of the Switch. Like, are they going to use cartridges anymore? Or, are you going to be able to download your games from the previous one? Because that would be really, really dumb if if it wasn't backwards compatible. Ugh. But that would be Nintendo for you.
It would be. Speaking of Nintendo, we checked out the Nintendo Direct. Well, more so you did, and I kind of glanced over once in a while.
Well, it was about 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
And there was only a few games of interest for you.
Yes.
Not really for me, because the Switch is more your bag, and I don't want to mess with your stuff, so I stick to my PlayStation. But, what are these?
Ones that you noted were Epic Mickey Rebrushed.
Yes, this was originally a GameCube or a Wii game. I can't remember which one. It was originally a Nintendo game, but it's gonna also be on Xbox and PlayStation. It's like black and white Mickey trying to bring color into the world. Different platforming stuff, and the original Bunny character before there was Mickey Mouse, he shows up in the second game. So I forgot his name, but those that are really into Disney are probably yelling at me right now for knowing what that is.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cute, and I want to play it. I never got to play the original, and I always wanted to.
Yeah, it looks like it could be cute. South Park Snow Day.
Yes, another live service game here. Apparently you can play it by yourself, and you can use AI bots to help you.
Yeah.
But it's basically a team of 4 versus a team of 4.
Gotcha.
Pelting each other with snowballs and different other stuff. What do you think of this?
I mean, I love South Park, but I don't know how I feel about the game. Having like AI bots and stuff, because I'm not gonna play with other people, but
they would be the ones that you would fight against.
Oh, you have to fight against other people still? It's not AI bot you fight against?
That I don't know.
Okay.
But the rest of your team is computer.
Right, no, I get that
and stuff. Maybe you'll be able to, but it's also a live service, so might not be able to.
I don't know. I'll have to think about this one.
Look, we're old, okay?
We are old.
We don't like playing online with other people.
We don't like other people.
I don't like being called racial terms when I'm playing an online game.
Yeah.
It just, the scum of the earth uses the mic. mics in video games.
That's true.
And I just don't want that. I love my single-player games, and I always will.
Yep. And then finally, there was Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble.
Yes, this one just looks adorable.
It is cute.
I think you would have a lot of fun with that on the Switch.
Yeah.
It's a puzzle game where you just collect as many bananas as possible, and it's different things you do with it. I know there's an online component, too, where you can race against other people to get the most abundant bananas or finish a track as fast as possible, but there's a single-player version as well. And I mean, if you really gave it a shot, I think you would love Super Monkey Ball.
Possibly.
And also the DLC for the previous game that had Hello Kitty in it.
Yes, I do love me some Hello Kitty.
Anything else we got for the news?
That is it for the news.
Wow, we've gone almost a half hour with all of this.
Time to move on.
Yes, that is the news for this week. I think the longest that we've taken for the news. So thank you for bearing through it, and on to the next segment, shall we? After some more bickering off mic, it is time for my least favorite segment of the show. You know what time it is. It is the Metal Faeries Reality Review.
Damn that ever do that shit. Not right.
And now it's time for the Metal Faeries Reality Review.
Oh, please make the voices stop!
All right, after being confused about what segment comes next, yes, it is the Metal Faeries Reality Review. Hopefully you can get back into the right train of thought and let us know what is happening in the world of punchable faces.
Yes. So I continue down my wells of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Vanderpump Rules this week. With Beverly Hills, this was the last episode before the reunion show, which means it was time for the white party. Kyle and Mauricio always have a white party every year, and this coincides...
You would have thought that they would come up with a better name than that.
I know. This always coincides with the last episode prior to the reunions. So this time they rented out a stadium to hold their white party. Not a whole lot happened there. It was this kind of average white party. But then the second half of the episode was all about things that happened after they technically finished filming the season, but they came back to film some more stuff. Because Kyle and Mauricio had announced their split. There's a lot of rumors throughout the season about what was going on with those two issues. Had he cheated, blah, blah, blah. And the episode really kind of focused on, the aftermath of when it was announced in People magazine. There was also a little bit about Dorit and her husband, issues with her husband PK as well. Apparently he went to England for a month and a half, just kind of unannounced, and eventually came back. So that was kind of weird as well. Sutton announced that she has, for temporarily anyways, quit dating because she now has full-time custody of her son after her husband moved to Europe. So she's taking a little bit more time with her children instead of focusing on her dating life. Garcelle...
That's not gonna last.
No.
You need drama on the show. You can't have that with just your kids.
Exactly. Garcelle focused on that she had won an award for a movie that she had... I think she produced it and starred in it last year. Crystal, she... followed up on the issues that she's had with her brother. Not issues, but she's been very, very overprotective with him in a very, very unhealthy way. And she's getting to a somewhat better place with that. And Anne-Marie, who cares about, because she's boring. But yeah, that was pretty much this episode. Next week starts the reunion show, and it looks like it should be pretty interesting.
Shouldn't the last episode before the reunions be the big bombshells and stuff?
Well, it was with Kyle and Mauricio, their breakup coming out. That was huge.
All right.
Because they've been on the show since the beginning of the series, so...
Well, I just meant with the whole cast.
Yeah.
I know with the other Real Housewives one, I know it was the whole... social media accounts and betraying everyone and stuff. This feels very low in comparison.
Yeah, I mean I see what you're saying. But for those who watch, this was a surprise, kind of, somewhat.
Fair enough.
Anyway, but we'll see what the reunion brings next week.
Now comes the fun part.
Yeah, moving over to Vanderpump Rules.
I actually shared some news with you this time.
You did. You did. So... not on the show, this wasn't talked about, but you had shared an article where Tom Sandoval, the evil Tom, did an interview, and I can't remember the exact phrasing and whatnot, but basically he compared himself and what he's been going through to what George Floyd went through. Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know what this rich white guy has gone through, but I'm pretty sure it's not comparable.
No, it's not. I think in his stupid mind, he was trying to say that, this story exploded in the media and stuff like that, but,
don't you think there could have been a better topic you could have compared it to?
There could have been a lot better topic. But,
and especially since that hits close to home for us.
Yeah. If you're not familiar, we do live in Minnesota, and so happening's not that far away from us. That's oof.
Yep.
But going on to the TV show Vanderpump Rules, a lot of this episode was based around kind of the planning for their Tahoe trip, which will be next episode. Ooh. So Lisa had previously invited Tom Schwartz, and his kind of plan was to invite the entire group, including the other Tom, to kind of break the ice between them a little bit. In this episode, Lisa met with Sheena and Lala, because if you remember last week, she had talked to Tom Sandoval and kind of learned that he had been, with everything going on, he had been going through some rough mental health times and was just a little concerned about him. So she kind of pleaded with Sheena and Lala to, dial it back a little bit with him, have a heart, because, I'd rather somebody, be there for him instead of us all regret this, which I get. So there was a lot of conversations around that. Lala ended up talking to James about it at a pool party James had later. Sheena also talked to James about it. And so they all kind of decided they were going to go a little easier on Tom when they go on this trip. Ariana and Katie, of course, are not going on this trip because they want no part of being around him. And Ariana, a lot of the people are kind of seeing how Ariana has been kind of placed on this pedestal again of being the queen bee that can't do anything wrong and stuff. And she, when she found out about Tom kind of going through some mental health issues, was kind of rude, terrible about it. She's like, it just did not take it seriously at all, and was like, I don't care. It just very I get he did terrible stuff to you, but it's mental health. It's real. It's people's lives. So.
Well, no one takes mental health stuff seriously. Yeah. Is the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because it's not like a broken leg.
Well,
it's not
true.
Like you're in a wheelchair.
You can't see it.
Yeah, you can't see it, so it must be fake.
Right.
And that's always going to be the issue.
Yeah.
And, some of it's, it's from self problems, like addiction or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you might cause some of the problems, but it doesn't make the problems any less real.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And, there's a reason why we always talk about mental health in the info box in our stuff.
Yes.
It's always the last thing that's there because, everyone goes through rough times.
Absolutely.
And if you're listening to this and going through rough times, there's a reason why you need to stick around and try to keep trying because you don't want to end your life feeling miserable.
No.
And, it's just seeing anyone tackling mental health stuff and just passing it off just irritates me so bad.
100%.
Boils the blood.
Absolutely. So that was pretty much what happened. So we'll see what happens next week in the Tahoe trip and
the redemption arc of Tom.
Possibly.
Well, apparently, that's the other article I sent you that you didn't read is because they're talking about how they're going to be potentially doing a redemption arc where he's coming back from this George Floyd stuff.
They were talking about this episode, though, and
the
potential of his redemption. We'll see, though.
All right, fine. But that doesn't mean that it can't happen the rest of the season.
I said maybe. Yeah.
We're going to come to fisticuffs, aren't we?
Yeah. Come to? I already have my gloves on.
And I'm going to lose, aren't I?
You sure are. You don't stand a chance.
I know. There was a meme I saw earlier today. It was like couples therapy, and the therapist asked, do you feel dominated by her? And then in the next panel, it's the woman says, no, he doesn't.
Oh, gosh. No, I'm not like that, but no. I could win in a battle, absolutely. Oh. I am tougher.
Before I even tried, I'd be on the ground.
Yeah.
Like Agnes Skinner. I'd kill him 5 times before he hits the ground.
Yes.
All right, and that is the Metal Fairies Reality Review. Next up is my favorite segment of the show, where I hold the Metal Fairy accountable for all the lies, slander, and everything else that she's done over the course of our nearly 11-year relationship.
Lies. All lies.
It's all lies.
From you.
No, from you. Because we're going through and spinning the choice and picking out all the bands that you said you were going to check out and never did. In a segment we like to call Accountability 101. Class is in session. It's time for Accountability 101, where the Metal Fairy is being held accountable and having her check out one band a week that she actually said she was gonna check out.
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that. Ponder.
So yes, we've really run the gamut so far. Went through a lot of different kinds of bands.
Yeah.
Some highs, some lows, some stuff that you just don't care about, and everything else.
Yeah.
And this week is a band that you've pretty much stayed away from. Even though we've seen them twice.
We have seen them, yeah.
Once in Minnesota, once at Prog Power. And, of course, the band is now broken up. But the name will live on with Anathema.
Yes.
A band starting out of the UK as a death doom band. Of course, with that Peaceville sound like My Dying Bride, Catatonia, and Paradise Lost. And like all of those bands, somewhere in the mid-90s, they decided to move away from the death doom sound.
Yes.
They became a little more goth rock. Then they became alternative rock. Then they became this grandiose progressive rock, and on the last album it's a little bit more electronic feel.
Yeah.
From what I understand, you didn't really like any of it, but I'll be damned if I don't try. And that's why I put him on the spin the choice wheel. And you just so happened to land on Anathema.
I did.
I gave you the choice of what era you would want, the death doom side, the alternative rock side, the prog side, or the gothic side.
Yes.
And you went with the gothic side.
I did.
And I went with one of the most celebrated albums in their career before they broke up initially.
Yeah.
The 1999 album, Judgment, which the first half of the album is pretty much like one big segue of a song separated into different parts.
Yeah.
You can really tell the fade in and fade out of all that, and then the second half is much different, starting with One Last Goodbye through the rest of it. Very gothic overtones, a lot of experimentation going on there as well. One song reminds me so much of the Dream Theater album Awake, with the way that they use keyboards and strings on it. There's one that kind of has like some blues solos kind of stuff going on. One Last Goodbye is one of the saddest songs I've ever heard in my entire freaking life, which is about death of the Kavanaugh brothers' mom.
Okay.
And pretty much the reason why they started shifting away from like the gothic and death doom sound and started to try to be a little more optimistic.
Yeah.
Well, musically, lyrically, it was always sad and always will be.
Yeah.
But this is a very seminal album for the 90s, 2000s goth sound.
Yeah.
And we heard it today.
We did.
I was finishing up some more stuff on Infinite Wealth.
Yes.
And you were taking notes. So take it away.
I'll start by saying this was definitely far more enjoyable than some of their other like later stuff. Especially when they had the girl singer.
Well, she's on this album too.
Well, in the one song.
Well, in the one song, yeah.
Yeah, I like the guy singing way more.
Well, to be fair, it's a different girl singer on Judgment than the one that they had on the later albums.
Yeah.
So you don't like her.
I mean, it's just fine, but I don't like their style then. I don't like her then. I don't like any of it then. But this was way more enjoyable than that stuff. A little dependent on the song. Like the first half where you said I was kind of one big song. I like that a lot. Like Deep and Make It Right. Those were probably my two favorite favorites of kind of that song at the beginning. And then One Last Goodbye. I really like that. I remember you playing that many times in the past.
In fact, that was one of the songs where we tried to make each other cry in that contest that we had back at our old place.
Yeah.
This was one of them.
Yeah, I know I've heard that many times throughout the years because you've played it. I think I forgot that it was Anathema even, because I'm so used to hearing the female singer because some of the later albums is what we heard so much, like when we heard them live and stuff like that. So I forgot it was even them, but I really like that song too. That was really good. The later songs, there were moments I liked, and there were some moments I didn't like number 9 on the Don't Look Too Far. That one,
the one with the female vocals on it.
Oh, then maybe that was a different one.
Well, one of them
I thought
that
was
vocals
okay, because I thought it was Parisian Moonlight that had the female vocals.
Yeah, so there's a couple songs.
Okay, Don't Look Too Far, but that one, it felt like it had some Stone Temple Pilot moments to it, which just didn't strike me very well.
I guess I haven't heard enough Stone Temple Pilots to really know. I only know the singles and the songs that I had played and the cover band stuff.
Yeah, there was a couple others I remember too from you playing. Emotional Winter, Anyone Anywhere. Wings of God, I felt like it had kind of a Pain of Salvation feel to it almost in a way.
Yeah, I mean, they grew up in the same scenes. They toured together a lot. I mean, that was bound to happen at some point.
Yeah, so, but, overall, like, I appreciate this album a lot more than the other ones because it is that gothic sound to a lot of it. Not all of it, but quite a bit of it.
A lot of it.
Yeah. Better than it could have been.
Would you give them another chance?
There's certain songs that I would put on, like, a playlist. Yes.
No, I meant
other songs, other
albums.
albums. Maybe the earlier stuff. The later stuff with the girl primarily singing, I don't know that I would do that.
Okay.
I mean, I appreciate it because I know how much you love it. Mm-hmm. So there's songs that I have meaning just because of that, but it's not songs that I thoroughly enjoy. So
one day from Stockholm Syndrome, you'll come around.
Sure.
If you ever do give them a chance, I think the band's previous album might be something that you would enjoy.
Okay.
Called Alternative 4.
Yeah.
It's like alternative and gothic rock.
Okay.
Kind of stuff. All clean vocals, kind of in this style as well. I think that might be the other big one that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Unless you thoroughly enjoy the Death Doom stuff that they do. Mm-hmm. But that's the other one I would recommend.
Okay.
And thank you for actually giving them a fair chance because
of course.
I wasn't really expecting that. I was expecting all of your bygones to be happening and just wanting to rip them to shreds.
Well,
But I'm glad you came around on this one. And
yeah.
And like you said, maybe you would even put on a couple tracks on a playlist or something.
Yeah, One Last Goodbye for sure.
And that's something I never would have thought.
Yes.
So, yay. I consider it one small victory. Now, with all of that said,
it's time to spin the choice.
It is time to spin the choice. But do you like Anathema out there in podcast land? Do you not like them? Do you have a particular era of the band? Have you never checked them out before? Has this intrigued you to go check out Judgment or Anathema in general? Mm-hmm. Make sure to let us know in the comments down below. And of course, I do all of this as I set everything up for Accountability 101's Spin the Choice. Right now, we have 18 spots on the wheel right now. I am currently shuffling to make sure that we don't have the same thing twice. And there's 18 bands on here that I really hope that the Metal Faerie will give a proper shot. And she's been a great sport with all of this so far.
I have.
And let's see if it happens again this week. Metal Faerie, spin the choice.
Big money. Oh, here we go.
Oh. We got Devin Townsend.
Yes.
Now, this is an odd one.
Yeah.
Because we've seen him like 3-4 times together. Mm-hmm. But you are also a big Strap Piano Lad fan.
I am.
But you don't give his solo material any chance whatsoever.
I mean, I've heard a lot of it. It hasn't won me over.
Yeah, I know. So this is why it's going to be so interesting this week. All right. Of course, Devin has a lot of different styles under his solo career. Some more poppy, some more heavy, more proggy, more acoustic. Is there a particular style that you'd be willing to dwell into?
I would say one song that I know you played a lot that I really liked from him is Storms.
Storm.
Okay. So if there's something along those lines.
All right, then we're going with the album Accelerated Evolution.
Is that album?
That is that album.
Okay.
So if you like that song, you might like more of the album.
Okay.
This is like pop metal, essentially.
Okay.
I really, really love this album. It was one of my first 2 Devin Townsend solo albums, along with Teria.
Yeah.
I think this is a good accessibility album for anyone that wants to get into Devin Townsend, because it's one of the less quirky albums. And if you're not into quirk, it might be hard to get into his solo work, because it's not all just heavy and brutal like Strapping. Even though towards the end they did get a little more wacky. But Accelerated Evolution.
All right.
The first album with RVP, Ryan Van Pooteroy, on there as well. So, of course, Ryan is a good friend of mine. He's got the band Monolith going on now, and they're apparently going to be announcing some news pretty soon, which makes me very happy.
Yeah.
But tune in next week as the Metal Faerie goes to the dark side and actually checks out the solo material from the Devin Townsend band known as Accelerated Evolution. And now it's time for the centerpiece of the whole show. The reason you keep coming back like the slathering dogs that you are, it is the theme of the week.
Well, now I'm here to tell you about the only real path to mental health.
Now it's time for our theme of the week. What will the topic be this week?
That's right. It's the something or other.
And boy howdy, are we really living up to the something or other this week. Before we started recording, we had to admit failure.
We did.
If you tune into last week's episode, you'll know that we were going to have a bracket fight of the best punk bands.
Yes.
And we were going to put like punk bands, hardcore bands, pop punk bands, all this stuff on here. And we pretty much put all this off until today.
Yes.
And then we came to a realization. There isn't enough bands between the both of us that we both enjoy to make this tournament interesting.
Yeah.
Because it would just either be a lot of fighting about like, well, I haven't heard them. I can't decide on this. Or it would just be really boring. Yeah. Because let's face it, the finals would have been The Offspring versus Bad Religion.
Pretty much.
And Bad Religion would have won.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's our punk band. Our favorite punk band is Bad Religion. Do you have any more notes on the punk stuff? I mean,
no. Maybe at some point we'll talk about punk, like our favorite punk bands or something, like a list or something like that. But yeah, it just didn't make sense for a bracket fight.
Yeah, like we might have had like 8 bands, but that wouldn't have been interesting. Yeah, it just would have been over way too quick. So we went over different show ideas of what we have on the list so far, and we decided on one that we could do pretty gosh darn quick.
Yeah.
And that is, of course,
favorite video games.
Yes, I mean, I've been playing Infinite Wealth for a good amount of time. Almost a whole month I've been playing the game.
Yeah.
It is not in my top 10.
Yeah.
Because it just came out a month ago.
Sure.
But I do want to mention that as an honorable mention.
Mm-hmm.
But we both picked out 10 of our favorite video games. Not series.
No.
Individual choices. Maybe we'll do a series at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, these are just the ones that either we loved playing growing up, the ones that we play to this day, the ones that have a meaning to us, all these different things.
I will say one thing. I went with I put out a rule for myself that it has to be games that I played myself.
Oh.
Yeah, because I've obviously watched you play a ton of games, and they could be on a list of like my favorite game stories and stuff like that, but if it's actual favorite video games I've played, then I have to have played.
Okay, and I think we really need to do the disclaimer again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't keep you from playing video games.
No. I get very, very dizzy watching a lot of games that are played on console on big TV. So typically I just play on the Switch or other handheld device, and that is a little bit easier on my system.
Yes, we have a nice, beautiful 65-inch TV, top-of-the-line TCL.
Yes.
And, you could say that's like the bargain bin kind of TVs, but they look better than a lot of premium TVs that I saw. And especially when we went TV shopping almost 3 years ago now. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
It looked the best and at the best price for us.
It did.
And little did I know that going from 55 to 65 was going to make you even sicker. So it's less of a chance of you playing games unless it's like all static shots and it's not like a lot of first-person stuff or, falling from great heights or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't need you getting sick.
No.
because of me. So, you either play on a smaller TV or the Switch. Maybe a PC handheld. I keep trying to talk you into it, but I know that's probably a futile thing.
Maybe at some point. Maybe at some point.
I know you're kind of waiting to see what the next Switch is all about.
Yeah.
See if that'll play like Xbox or PlayStation games and stuff like that. I know that's a thing.
Exactly.
But I went with the games that I loved playing. Some of them I can't play anymore. Some of them I play all the time.
Yeah.
Some really good stuff here. But of course, we're bringing back the Spin the Choice wheel.
Exactly.
Now, you got very upset with me last week about this because I decided to add more options to the Spin the Wheel choice with our names. And you got very, very upset that I didn't capitalize our names.
Yeah.
Can you explain that to me as I set everything up?
Well, because originally he just had his name and my name on there once each, and they were capitalized and looked great. Then he added a bunch more just to have a lot of, clicks on the wheel, so to speak, and he didn't capitalize it, so it looked all goofy. Like, make it uniform.
Well, I did this time because it didn't save.
Exactly, and it looks so much better now.
Yes. Even though I shuffled it up and our name is sometimes touching multiple times. You can see that on there. My name's on, next to each other a couple times. Yours is on there a couple times. But that makes it all the more interesting, does it not?
I guess.
So we're going to do the Spin the Choice wheel. I'm going to do it this time.
Okay.
Because you did it last time.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Let's see who's going first.
Round and round and round she goes. Oh, it is the Metal Faerie this time around.
I am going first.
All right. So, again, this is all games that you've physically played.
Yes. So, this first game, there probably are different versions of it out there, but I enjoy it in both cabinet version, but I also enjoy every version there is. But Game Boy version SP version is the one I played it on originally. Bubble Bobble is my favorite.
Yes.
It's such a simple game. It's so simple, but it's so addictive, and I'm pretty good at it. So it's one game that I can just turn my mind off and play for hours and hours and hours and hours, and I love it. I mean, there's no story to it. There's no anything crazy to it. It's just a fun game. And it's great on cabinet, too. It's just one of those arcade games that is enjoyable.
Well, I was going to say, it was so great seeing how much fun you had when we went to Starcade.
Yeah.
And you played that for like an hour or two straight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You played the original Japanese version of it, which I thought was cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. Right next to you playing a Tekken Tag Tournament.
Yes.
But I kept looking over at you, and you were having so much fun playing that on the Japanese cabinet.
Yeah.
I wish we had one of those because they look so freaking cool. The buttons sound so cool.
They do.
If I was handier with technology, it'd be cool to add other games into that as well, and just all that good stuff.
Totally.
But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed seeing you play that then, and we need to go back to Starcade.
We do.
Unless it's closed down. I know there were some things going on with, I don't know.
Yeah.
They also have a THC bar
there
as well.
They do.
Yeah, that was weird to see on my birthday. I was tempted.
Yeah.
I didn't do it, but I was tempted. My number 10 is Alan Wake 2.
Very nice.
I think enough time has gone by for me to say that.
Yeah.
Love the original Alan Wake. Very fun game.
Yeah.
But Alan Wake 2 takes everything I loved about the game, turns it on its head, expands all of it, and makes it one of the best horror games I've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
I love the story that's going on between both protagonists in the game. It's all in the shared universe that's going on with the developers of the game. If you also play the game Control, there's a huge aspect of that in Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
A lot of callbacks to the original game as well. Quantum Break, I think they also hint at as well. At least one of the people that starred in that game is in Alan Wake 2. So there might be something more to it.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, if you play New Game Plus, there is a definitive ending So that's all the more reason I need to go back to it, because it kind of leaves you on a cliffhanger. New Game Plus, when you play it, apparently they change things around in it, so there's a reason to actually go back and play it again.
Yeah.
For the full version of it. So when we eventually do that, I'm very excited about that.
Very nice.
And of course, your favorite aspect of Alan Wake, Alan Wake 2, Control, all these games is, of course, Old Gods of Asgard, otherwise known as Poets of the Fall. And of course, they wrote the greatest song of 2023.
Yes.
Herald of Darkness.
Yes.
Which is a major aspect of the game. It's an entire chapter of the game, and I can't explain it. You just have to play it or watch a playthrough of it to understand.
Yeah.
But, like, it all connects together so very well. It's a 21st century Rocky Horror. It really, really is.
Yeah, totally.
And you have more appreciation for not only Old Gods of Asgard, but also Poets of the Fall now because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Poets before that, but yeah, I've definitely come around to more of their stuff because I only listened to part of it before. So.
And also the song War.
Yes.
Which is in Alan Wake, the original.
Yeah.
And I told you this bit before, but the local radio DJ on the show, he's about to play War. And it says, this next band coming up really reminds me of our own local old Gods of Asgard. It's Poets of the Fall with their song War.
Oh, that's funny.
So you're number 9.
My number 9, staying classic again. So this is my favorite arcade game. If I were to have an arcade cabinet, this is the one I would have. It is Root Beer Tapper. Oh, I love that game. Like, everything about it. It's old-timey, but it's so simple and fun, but it's kind of hard still, too. Like, it's a challenge to play that game. But it just reminds me of my youth and arcadey stuff, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I know you've said that if you were to get any arcade console of any kind, it would be Root Beer Tapper.
It would be.
Even though you couldn't play any other games on it, you want that one.
I just want Root Beer Tapper on it, yeah.
As we look at the Mortal Kombat 2 console that we have on there.
Yes.
Which, if we would have gotten the full-size version of it, in one of the Mortal Kombat Legacy ones, it has Root Beer Tapper on it.
Yeah, but it won't be the same. I want just Root Beer Tapper.
They say she's the same, she's not the same. That's a Lost reference, isn't it?
Number 9. My
number 9 is Spider-Man PS4. The original Spider-Man from the new games from Insomniac Games. I love Spider-Man 2. But something about the original Spider-Man where you get to just explore Manhattan. The first time that you actually get to swing on your webs, that you get to explore the city, do all of these crazy things. It's just one of my favorite experiences the first time I got that.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was so, like, photorealistic at the time. And just an amazing story that went with all of it. And again, Spider-Man 2 is fantastic, and there's nothing to take away from that. Of course, your man Tony Todd is in it, playing Venom.
Yes.
But the original one just holds something a little bit more near and dear to me.
Yeah.
And it's just endless fun just swinging through New York City.
Yeah, I love it during wintertime, and I want to live in his mother's apartment.
Oh, well, that's Miles Morales.
Was that? I thought... Okay.
Yeah, because you never see Aunt May's apartment.
Sorry, yep. Yeah. You're right. Wrong one.
But no, it's the same city.
Yes.
In Miles Morales. It's just during the winter and during Christmas time.
Yep.
And that apartment is amazing. I wish we had that.
I know.
Instead of this one bedroom apartment where we have too much stuff cluttered around. But that's a discussion for a different time.
Moving onward.
Your number 8.
My number 8, complete change. I am going with Until Dawn.
Ooh.
So out of all the horror games that we've played, like, this is one of the few that I've played on my own.
Yes.
But I
encouraged you to do this.
Yes. I just love everything about it. I mean, I love that it's choose your own adventure. It's very classic, kind of 80s slasher vibes to it.
So cheesy.
It's all about teenage people that you hate. Like, it's perfect. It's perfect. And they're not remaking it, but updating it.
Well, they're remaking it for the PS5, but they're not going to change anything.
Yeah.
But it's also because they're doing the movie. for Until Dawn, which I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah.
If it's a singular story, that's not the game, is it?
No.
If you can't make your own choices.
Yeah.
I mean, there is that Black Mirror episode that they did on Netflix where you could choose your own adventure.
That's true.
I think it would be awesome to do something like that.
That would be crazy.
I don't know how feasible that would be.
Couldn't have it in theater.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But I would love to see that.
That would be cool. Yeah.
But I love that game as well.
Yes.
My number 8 is Fallout 4.
Mm.
My favorites of the Bethesda games, because it was the first time that I could play a Bethesda game where my vision worked enough to actually be able to appreciate everything.
Yeah.
Like, I tried playing Skyrim on an old box TV with my terrible eyes.
Yeah.
I couldn't enjoy it.
You need to play it now.
Well, I have.
Not since, like, all the updates came out and stuff.
Well, the PS4 version I got,
but not with, like, the expansion, that, like, where you can go fishing and stuff like that.
Well, there is some of the expansions,
like
being able,
TV.
like the vampire stuff and.
Fine, but not on this TV. You haven't played.
No, I haven't, and maybe I'll go back one day because Skyrim, they have a new edition every year with new stuff that they just slowly but surely put in. Stuff that's probably been there since 2011. Just wait, there's gonna be another announcement from Bethesda about Skyrim.
I hope so.
But Fallout 4 is like Skyrim.
Yeah.
It plays a lot of the same. It's an RPG, open world. You make your choices, your dialogue choices. You can take on missions any way you want to, just like Skyrim. But instead of a medieval world with different creatures, it is a nuclear holocaust and the fallout, that happens from it in the United States.
Yes.
With all the guns and atomic bombs and all the different stuff and the abomination creatures that come from the radiation. Ghouls, the ones that become undead from the radiation, all this different stuff. You started to appreciate it a little bit when I played it last year.
Yeah.
Of course, probably your favorite aspect of it is all the old-timey music that you can play during it.
Yes.
All the Fallout games have that. Since Bethesda took over, I don't think they're in the first 2 games. But, yeah, what Skyrim is to you is what Fallout is to me. And Fallout 4, that's the one I got the most addicted to.
Very nice. My number 7 is 007, The World Is Not Enough.
One of the only people in the world to say this.
There's a collection of us out there.
On your subreddit.
Yeah.
Just checking in.
Yeah. On N64, this was like my late teens. This was my game. Like, I know everybody loves GoldenEye and, like, thinks this is the worst game ever, but this is such a good game. This is so enjoyable. It's so, so, so fun. I love everything about it. Just sleuthing around, and it's perfect.
Yet it's so weird because you pretty much refuse to watch any James Bond movies.
I have never seen a James Bond movie.
Yeah. What are you doing?
I even own one and I've never seen it.
Why do you have it?
I can't remember.
Why do you have one if you're not going to watch it?
I don't remember why I have it, but I do.
I don't think I'd be able to talk you into that, but then again, I never thought I'd be able to get you into RoboCop, and look how that turned out.
That's true.
So I'm not going to rule anything out completely. Number 7. The Great World of Montana. A dangerous cult. You are a deputy who goes in to try to take this cult down.
Yes.
And ends up in a war in this entire county in Montana. It is, of course, my favorite of the Far Cry games, Far Cry 5.
Yes.
I love this one so much because it takes on the religious cultists, and you just take them down one by one.
Is this the one with cheeseburger or chorizo?
I was going to mention that cheeseburger is in it.
Okay.
The big diabetic grizzly like me. But yes, a cheeseburger, you get to unlock him, and he gets to help you out, and you get to pet him and stuff like that. It's very, very cute.
Yes, no chorizo, though.
That's in Far Cry 6.
Yes.
And he is probably the cutest.
He's the cutest pup ever.
But you can't count out Cheeseburger, though.
Yeah.
But I love this one. I love exploring the Montana wilderness. I love all of that goes with it. I love the story. The DLC that came with it, I think was the best that they came up with. well, the real DLC, not the side stuff that came along with it. There was a single DLC where you didn't need to play the first game called New Dawn that came out, which is 20 years after the events of Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but they also added some microtransaction stuff that was really stupid. But, yeah, I just love this game, and I constantly go back to it. I love it.
Very nice.
We love it.
We love it. We love it.
We love it.
My number 6 is Saints Row 4.
Ooh.
Yes, I love Saints Row 3.
Another controversial take.
I love Saints Row 3 as well, but 4 is so wacky, and it gives you so many, like, options for, like, zooming around and stuff that it just makes it so much fun. And there's so many, like, crazy, like, weapons you can have, and it's just fun. It's like GTA, but on drugs.
Yeah, it's much wackier.
Yes.
I mean, the opening sequence, when you actually get to start playing.
Yes.
You attach yourself to a rocket.
Yes.
Climbing to the top.
Don't wanna close
While Aerosmith's I Don't Wanna Miss a Thing is playing.
Fall asleep,
'cause I miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing. Yeah. And of course, Keith, Mother effing David, is in there as well.
It's true.
One of my favorite actors of all time. Voice of Spawn is in They Live, The Thing, Tales from the Hood 2.
Yeah.
And many, many other movies.
Yep.
I love Keith David. But,
and you're just killing aliens, killing people, like, just going crazy the entire time.
It's funny how that was originally just supposed to be DLC for Saints Row 3.
Yeah.
And then they decided to expand on it.
Oh, so good.
It's so, so good. Although I will say the music from Saints Row 3 is much better.
Yeah.
But, surprisingly enough, I didn't have Saints Row in my top 10.
Okay.
I thought I would have, but it just didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
Next up for me, at number 6, is Doom Eternal.
Okay.
The sequel to Doom 2016. It takes everything about Doom. Of course, you don't need to know the story of Doom. You are Doom Guy, or the Doom Slayer, as he's known as now.
Yes.
You land on Mars, you go to Hell, you go to these different places with all these demons, and you brutally murder all of them. Everything that you see, you kill.
Yeah.
You don't... It's all the run and gun fun that you could ever want. And that's what I loved about the original games, you know, like how pixelated and pretty much terrible by today's standards they look. I still enjoy those original games so much.
Yeah.
I also love Duke Nukem 3D for that exact same reason. But that one's so much more childish. And I'm surprised that one didn't make it on there because I played that so much on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
But... yeah, Doom Eternal just takes everything from Doom 2016 and just amps it up. And of course, the greatest thing ever, the Chainsaw Gatling, or the shotgun grapple.
Yes.
Where you can use it as a shotgun or you can use it as a grappling hook.
Multifaceted.
One of the greatest things ever. Yeah, I love it.
Nice. My number 5 is GTA Vice City.
I thought this would have been nearer to the top. That surprises me.
You know.
Now I know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple different GTA games that I like, but this is by far my favorite. I love anything 80s, and this is complete, like, Miami Vice, 80s Miami vibe. I don't really play the missions too much. I mean, I have played them, but, like, I enjoy just driving around, driving over people, running down the beach. Running people over, like picking up prostitutes, just
while listening to Yes,
like
Owner of a lonely heart.
Actually, I love listening to the Foreigner song on there while I'm cruising down the beach, running people over. That's my thing.
Waiting
for a girl like you.
See, we sing intentionally bad, so we don't get copyrighted.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely love it.
Right on. My number 5 is one of the greatest games ever made that you've never played.
Okay.
And knowing how much you love the series,
Yeah.
It really disappoints me
Okay.
that you've never played this.
Okay.
And especially since it is on the Switch, you have no excuse.
Okay.
It is Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Oh, yeah.
It's Alucard! You were telling me how much you love Alucard. That $700 toy statue that you showed me before we started recording.
You're right. I have not played this specific Castlevania game.
It is the best one.
It might be.
It is, and you need to play it at some point.
I know.
Like, this is the reason why the Metroidvania is the way that it is.
He's trying to school me right now.
No, I'm... Just a legendary game from the PlayStation 1. I think it came out on other devices too, but I originally remember it from the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
And, of course, it got re-released with Rondo of Blood. A game I never played because that was Japanese exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's just Alucard's adventure going through Dracula's castle.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
What?
Dracula.
Alucard? What?
Alucard is Dracula backwards.
What? No.
Whoa. Unless I'm spelling it wrong. Let me know if I'm spelling it wrong down below.
I hope somebody got fired for this blunder.
Blunder. But, yeah, it's just a perfect map, perfect characters, the way you progress and everything. It might feel a little dated now compared to how things work with modern-day Metroidvanias, but there is a reason why everyone considers this to be the best Castlevania game. And once you play it, and you really get into it, you understand why. How's that for schooling you?
My number 4 is Castlevania Area of Sorrow. So my era of Castlevania is the handheld version. All the games from Game Boy Advance and DS were my biggest thing. Like, I mean, I loved those games. Aria of Sorrow is my favorite of them, but I love a few of the others as well. They're just amazing. They are amazing. I know there's other ones that are ranked as better. Symphony of the Night, although Aria of Sorrow is usually like number 3 on lists, I think.
It usually is, yeah.
I know there's other ones that I need to go and play because I love these types of games and stuff.
Just stay away from the 3D Castlevania games.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, the handheld version was always my jam, so...
And wouldn't you know you have a handheld device and you can play Symphony of the Night
I know,
now.
I need to do it. I do need to do it.
Just wait for a sale when it's like $10, so both games are $5 apiece. And that is a great game. I've played it because I have all the Castlevania games on the PlayStation stuff, and I'm very thankful for that. But still, at the same time,
absolutely, I'm
glad that we both have a Castlevania game.
I know.
My number 4 is Borderlands 2.
Ooh.
I play all the Borderlands games all too much.
Yes, you do.
Except for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which I got so burned by the DLC being weekly exclusion crap that there's a lot of problems with it, even though I love the voice cast and everything.
Yeah.
Bojack's in it is the main villain.
Exactly.
But Borderlands 2 has the greatest villain of all video games, Handsome Jack. If you ever play the game, which is on the Switch, you'll understand why he is the best. He has the best lines. He is just the funniest, most effed up jerk of a villain there could be. I want to say other words, but we're trying to keep it clean here.
Exactly.
Yeah, and of course, I grew up with the Borderlands games since the very first game, and I've just loved everything about these games. Of course, we talked about the Borderlands movie earlier, which I'm very scared to watch because I feel like they're going to ruin so many things.
Yeah.
But I also have to remind myself it doesn't tarnish the games if the movie is bad.
Yeah, that's true. A
lot of people forget that.
Yeah.
The original source material is never ruined by another media. But, yeah, it's just like collecting all the guns that you can, killing people in the funniest ways.
Yeah.
The dialogue is just so childish and fun. Borderlands 3 was like the one that I know you picked up on the most. Like, they have a whole mission dedicated to the room.
Yes.
And Tommy Wiseau.
Yes.
I mean, that's amazing. And, I mean, there's references in all three. The original Borderlands is the least funny. The second might arguably be the funniest.
Yeah.
And the third one is just like references up the yin-yang. But I love it.
Nice.
And, yeah, I just love the Borderlands series. I love Borderlands 2, and cautiously optimistic about the movie.
Is this the one where Claptrap has a birthday party?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
That's my favorite.
Yes. And no one shows up except for me.
No. He has a ton of pizza, no one to give it to.
You can bring some of that pizza with you if you want.
It's so little and cute.
But he's such a jerk, though.
I don't care, he's cute. My number 3 is Perfect Dark. This was my favorite game from N64, which was my favorite console of all time.
What is it about the Nintendo 64?
For me, I mean, number one, it was at the right time. I mean, I grew up playing games since I was a little kid. I mean, I had Atari, I had Nintendo, blah blah blah. But N64 is when I really got into gaming and spent a lot of time playing games. And some of the games just hit me so hard. Like I said, 007, Perfect Dark, like they just fit my personality. I love kind of mysterious, sleuthy, investigative type stuff, and these are perfect for that.
And you've never played Perfect Dark Zero?
No, I have not. Mm-hmm.
Need to change that one day.
Yeah, well, I never had Xbox growing up, so yeah.
Well, we got an Xbox here.
We do, but I tried playing Perfect Dark on there, and the controls were just terrible. I couldn't do it.
Well, that's the thing about the Nintendo 64 that no one wants to admit.
Yeah.
The controls are terrible.
See, they were my favorite controls ever.
Oh, they were when I was playing it.
Yeah.
When you go back to it, it's the most horrendous thing that you could have ever had.
Well, I think it's also the translation from their controls to an Xbox control that's just oof.
Well, it could be that, but also at the same time, like, you don't have the dual sticks to be able to like shift the camera and you at the same time.
Yes.
Like, it's just all the one loose joystick, which everyone made loose. Like, it was never tight after you played it anymore. You had the little C control buttons that never really did anything else but move the camera around. Yeah. And I say all of this because my pick coming up is Super Mario 64.
Nice.
Which is one of the greatest platform games ever. My favorite Mario game. Favorite everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I just love this game. Pretty much the sole reason why we picked up that Super Mario All-Stars for the Switch was so I could play this again. Mm-hmm. Before I felt really bad about playing the Switch and just left it to you again. I love this game. It was so cute, even though it looks kind of horrific by today's standards of 3D.
Yeah, some.
But, there's a certain charm to it that I will always love.
There is.
And it's a classic for a reason.
It is.
There's a reason why the sealed copy went for like $2 million or something like that several years ago. It's just that legendary.
That's crazy. I love the penguins from it.
Yes. And of course you can be very, very cruel and drop them off the side.
It's so terrible.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But they gave you the choice. They gave you the choice.
That is true. My number 2 is Kingdom Hearts, the first one.
Oh, the original.
Yes. Kingdom Hearts is just the series that holds the nearest and dearest place in my heart. Like,
despite not understanding.
Well, I mean, it's a complex story. There's things I understand about it. All I know is that
you never played the N-Gage Kingdom Hearts games, so you're missing a huge chunk of it.
What was that?
The N-Gage version of Kingdom. Yeah, the gaming phone. There was a Kingdom Hearts game for the N-Gage only. Yeah, so you miss a huge chunk of the Kingdom Hearts story.
I've only played 1, 2, and 3. I mean, I haven't played the side, like, other, like, phone and other system games of it. But
side note, you didn't want to finish Kingdom Hearts 3, and you just stopped.
I did. I still have to finish the last mission on Kingdom Hearts 3, because when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, like, it was...
You cried.
I cried. Like, my world was, like, completing. Like, it was the happiest moment in such a long time. And the game itself, like, there was things I loved about it, but then there was a lot of disappointments, too. And I just haven't been able to bring myself to complete it yet. Now that I know that there is a new game coming out at some point, who knows, 20 years from now maybe, I might finish it at some point.
Sora wearing regular shoes.
We're not going to get into that right now.
But yes, let's get back into the original.
But Kingdom Hearts 1, that is where it all started. It's just the combination of so many things that I love. Like, I don't like turn-based, like, fighting games. Like, Final Fantasy is not my jam at all.
Well, the brand new one might be, because there's no turn-based at all. It's beat 'em up.
That's true. That's true. But this combines, like, that, but it's also Disney characters, and you go to all these different Disney-based worlds, and the first two have the superior worlds to the third one. But I feel like,
without question,
I feel like the first one is even better, because there's even more worlds there, and worlds that I like have more near and dear, thoughts in my heart with and stuff. And it's so fun. It's so fun, and I love it. And the music is just heartwarming.
And that's why I like Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah.
Although, I get really emotional when I've played that.
Yeah.
The opening theme song to that makes me cry.
Oh, so many songs from Kingdom Hearts makes me cry.
Yeah, it's just like, there's something like that's so heartwarming and knife to the heart.
Yeah.
About all the songs to it.
Yep.
And I told you this before, when I finished up I can't believe I'm admitting this.
Yeah.
On radio. On podcast form.
Yes.
When I finished up the Winnie the Pooh stuff in Kingdom Hearts 2,
yes,
I could not stop crying. I cried for hours.
Oh, yes.
It was just the saddest thing, and it just hit me at the right spots.
Pooh is so little and innocent. I mean, in general, but especially in this game, like.
Yeah, and I could not stop crying.
And that was one of my annoyances with 3, what they turned.
Yeah, they turned them into mobile games.
Yeah, no.
And Heffalump instead of Eeyore.
Yeah, what? No, like...
No one likes Heffalump more than Eeyore.
No. How dare you leave Eeyore out?
Yes.
Ugh, but yes.
I am Eeyore, by the way.
You are.
I can feel the nail in my backside holding my tail.
Eeyore, why are you always so sad?
I have a nail in my anus.
Oh.
And on that note, and speaking of anuses... butts and other stuff.
Yeah.
Since I pretty much ignored it, I guess we're going to be going back to it. It is Grand Theft Auto Vice City at my number 2.
Very nice.
I loved Grand Theft Auto 3, but my brother got to play that all the time. I never got to. Yeah. I always just had to sit and watch.
Yeah.
Vice City was the one that I actually got to play.
Yup.
And I loved it so much. I loved all the 80s aesthetics. I loved V-Rock so much.
Oh, yeah.
Laszlo, Love Fist, all that stuff.
Yes.
And, of course, going back into the news, it had Slayer on it. It had Anthrax, Iron Maiden, Ozzy. Like, all of these classic 80s metal bands. But when you switch the stations, you get the 80s pop, you get the 80s hip-hop. You got the talk station with Fernando.
Yes.
Which is one of the funniest things that's ever happened in Grand Theft Auto. I just loved everything about it. Just fantastic stuff. Playing the original does not hold up whatsoever, again, because of the controls and all that stuff. But they did do a PS4 port of it that I loved. Then they released the definitive edition, which was kind of a travesty as well. Well, I heard it's a lot better now.
Okay.
But I know you picked it up on the Switch as well.
Yes.
And it was really, really hard to play because it kept shutting off on you and freezing and stuff. I heard a lot of those things are done now.
That's good.
But, of course, with the good comes the bad. In one of the most agonizing, blood-boiling missions ever, when you have to control the RC plane.
Yeah.
How many hours did you spend on that when you originally played that?
A lot. And then I played it many times and just avoided doing missions altogether because of that.
I think that's why you avoid missions altogether now when you can.
It traumatized me. I can't do it anymore.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's funny enough, when I played the definitive edition,
Yeah.
Got it on the first try.
Of course.
I will never be able to do that again. But I got it on the first try.
I hate the way the helicopters fly in general, too.
All of them. All of the games, even Grand Theft Auto 5.
It's like you have to turn your nose completely down to move.
Yes.
It's stupid.
You shouldn't do that. I know it's more realistic, but it's a video game.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that way.
No.
Anyways.
Yes.
We've gone through 9 of your favorites.
Yes.
But we left out 1.
We did.
And I can only imagine what it is. I have no idea what it is. It makes me think I should go back to the earliest days of the show, where I'm going to guess this was the game that we kept talking about every week that you were playing. And you eventually just stopped playing. But you might get back into it at some point. I mean, you'll need to collect all the dust off the Switch, but I think you'll get back to it. But just in case I'm wrong, what is your favorite video game of
My
all
number
time?
1 is, in fact, Skyrim. To be clear, I've played this more times than I can count. And I shouldn't say all the way through, because there is no, like, really...
There's no real ending.
There's no ending to Skyrim, but I've done most. I mean, a lot of the missions, we'll just say. I mean, I've done everything, so it's not like I played a little bit and didn't come back to it. I just haven't played the Switch in a while. But, oh gosh, I love this game. I have spent more time playing this game than any other game, than all other games combined, probably, honestly. It's just everything. I mean, you're fighting dragons. It's that time period that I love. It's like simplistic. You know, you can go in like taverns and stuff like that, but then it's the hoarding that I love as well. You can collect anything. I collect cheese and sweet rolls. Those are my specialties. You can craft things.
Collect sweet rolls in Fallout as well.
That is true. You can craft things. You can like make potions and, you know, craft your weapons and your armor and stuff like that. Usually I go for more of the stealth route. You know, I'm an arsonist. Archer, thank you. That's kind of my thing. I like the stealthiness. I like to steal. I love the Thieves Guild. It's just the funnest game ever. Oh, it's so good. I absolutely love it. At some point I want to start a collection of like figurines and other random stuff around it, but I haven't started that yet. But there will be a cabinet devoted to that at some point.
Are you sure there's gonna be enough room for that with all the Crow stuff that you have?
Not right now, there won't be, but at some point I want like a cabinet that's completely Crow stuff and one that's completely Skyrim stuff.
I totally understand.
Mm-hmm.
My number 1. What do you think it is?
I mean...
I want you to guess.
Last of Us 2.
Is that your ultimate response?
That's my ultimate response.
Yes, it is. Yes. We've already gone over stuff like this already, but I love The Last of Us Part 2, and I know it's one of the most controversial games in PlayStation history because of the storytelling, the way that they do things. I disagree with everyone who has a problem with this.
Yes.
The first time I played it, I thought it went a little long.
Yeah.
Especially like going to California.
Yeah.
But on repeat plays, I see how essential it is.
Mm-hmm.
Just Ellie's story from part 1.
Mm-hmm.
I love the original Last of Us.
Oh, absolutely.
And the TV show is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
It is.
And I really hope that part 2 lives up to that, because there's a lot of choices they could be making.
There are.
And I'm very, very curious about how they're going to be going about all of it.
Me too.
But part 2, it is so long, but it's so enjoyable.
It is, yeah.
Although if you play on New Game Plus, you pretty much demolish everything in front of you, so it goes by a lot faster.
That is true.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversial topics on here. Another protagonist, maybe?
Yeah.
Would you call her a protagonist?
I don't know.
Well, another playable character. How about we say it like that?
Yeah.
There's 2 playable characters you can play on here, and you can either appreciate the choices they made or didn't appreciate them.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, I think it shows that in a world like that, there is no right answer.
It's true.
No one's right or wrong. They're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And when you survive, you're going to make a lot of tough choices and a lot of bad ones.
Oh, yeah.
and I just love it. And there's a reason why we keep going back to it every January and play the original games.
It's our annual game.
And, of course, this is the first time that we got to play it in surround sound back in January, and really got to appreciate the surround sound stuff with it. Although, I was playing it when we first set it up.
Yeah.
And that was when you actually started to appreciate audio for the first time.
I'm like, oh, hey, I can hear the clickers better.
Yeah, like you actually started to appreciate it, and you were very happy that we got a surround sound system. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I can't live without it now. No. Because it just works so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are our top 10 video games.
I will make note, like, if I was including games that I didn't play myself, Last of Us definitely would have been on my list, but...
Where would it have been?
Oh, I mean, it still probably wouldn't have beat Skyrim or Kingdom Hearts for me, because those ones are just so near and dear in the old heart, but it'd be up there, though.
Right on. Mm-hmm. So, what are your favorite video games? Did we have some good choices? Did we put some bad choices on here? I'm sure a lot of people won't agree with my number one, and I can't wait to see the feedback that comes along with that. And let us know your favorite games in the comments down below. Alright, now that the video game stuff is out of the way, it's time to talk about some more video games, or TV shows, or movies, or new music, in a segment known as What We're Enjoying.
Good news, everyone!
It's time to let you know what we've been enjoying.
Don't you have some friends your own age? Someone to drink with? Maybe a girlfriend?
Talking about TV, movies, video games, wrestling, even music.
Can't you see you're not making rock and roll better? You're just making rock and roll worse.
Yes, we are making everything worse.
We are.
But, yeah, why don't we start off with some gaming stuff? We covered a lot of gaming stuff in the news, but you kind of hinted at it already with the Love Island stuff. Or wasn't that currently going on in the mobile
No,
verse?
that was Love is Blind.
Oh, Love is Blind.
The game.
Sorry,
not the game, the TV show. But yes, Love Island I have been playing.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So it was the second episode this week. In this episode, we had a little blindfold kissing thing going on, where you had to kiss all the boys and they had to rate which girl was the best kisser. I came in second place. So me and the first place both got to pick a boy to go on a date with.
I'll have to take your word for it.
Yes. And then we ended up, since we're the bombshell, we had to pick which guy we wanted to partner up with, which would then send the girl that he was currently partnered up with home, and we made our decision. I ended up going with the bunny guy because he was just the most enjoyable male.
If only you did that in real life.
Why do you think I'm with you?
That's the only reason you're with me.
Oh goodness, here we go.
You know what I look like.
Yeah, I'm looking at you right now.
I am Rocky Dennis.
Oh jeez.
I am Rocky Dennis with glasses.
Is that a pelvis? Rocky, there's limits.
I'm beautiful on the inside. Oh, Rocky. I'm getting passed around by this motorcycle gang, but I love Sam Elliott.
Oh, dear. What about you?
Well, as of yesterday, I concluded the story of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Yes.
156 hours it took to complete the story.
It did.
I almost got all the trophies at that time, too. And even today, I collected a few more, which I'm very, very happy about.
Yes.
What were your thoughts from what you saw?
I thought it was fun. Like, I haven't played any of these before, but I've seen you play the other ones. This one seems like the most fun to me. Like, I love Ichiban's personality. He's hilarious.
Well, that's also the one that came before it as well.
No, I know,
So,
but it seemed like he had a little bit more personality in this one. I don't know. Maybe it's just he's relatable because he's in his 40s now.
Well, he was in the first game, too.
Was he? Okay,
yeah.
I can't remember. Anyways, I like this one. And I like Nancy and Olivia. They're cute, and
Sand cribs.
Yeah, all the side games, all the dating stuff, the random stuff. It's just funny.
Well, the point I was trying to get at was, like, there was a tonal shift with the previous game, where the original Yakuza games are meant to be taken more seriously. It's a bit more soap opera.
Yeah.
But it also had all these wacky side adventures as well to kind of counterbalance everything.
Yeah.
With this, with the now Like a Dragon series.
Yes.
Yakuza Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth, it's immediately more funny.
Yeah.
I think it also helps that it's got English voiceover tracks now, which I think
true.
is a lot more to appreciate. Yeah, Ichiban's just a fun guy to be around. Kind of like they say in the game, you know, it's just like you always try to do your best when he's around. Like, he just omits that from him.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, it's so happy-go-lucky and, you know, just you feel better when he's around.
Yeah.
Whereas Kiru is just like so so serious.
Yes.
All the time. Unless you do the wacky side adventure stuff, then you get to see the other side of him. But story-wise, you know, it's just like, he's just like stone cold, like no emotion whatsoever.
It's true.
And Kazuga, Ichiban Kazuga, yeah, just like fun.
Yes.
You never would have thought that from someone who's spent 20 years in prison, but he's just fun.
That's true.
But yeah, I'm still playing through it. Thankfully, there is a premium adventure part after the game. I was really concerned about finishing the game because I didn't think I was going to be able to go back and play the other stuff.
Yeah, since there's no New Game Plus unless you buy the special version.
Yeah, and you can't buy it separately, as we learned.
Yep.
So thankfully, there is the premium adventure, which basically you can go back to a previous point and you can finish up all the missions that you didn't do and collect all those trophies, which I'm so close now.
Yes.
The hardest part is a trophy where you have to get Ichiban to level 70.
Yeah.
And I'm at level 58 now after 156 hours.
You got a little ways to go still.
Yeah, so and of course with every level it takes a little bit longer. There's gonna be more grinding than Napalm Death. I have to do to be able to get that.
That's
but
true.
you know, we'll see what happens.
Exactly.
But by the end of the year, I will probably say this was my favorite game of the year.
I'm sure.
I can't even imagine what's gonna come out this year that would top this for me.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks because like the best game of the year came out in January. Everything else might feel like a letdown in comparison.
Yeah, but you always have this to go back to then.
That's true. It's a long story, but it's so enjoyable for so many different reasons.
Totally.
So what else do we got going on in entertainment
so
land?
TV-wise, I mean, obviously we watched our Curb Your Enthusiasm, which was a great second episode. Third episode. And then we also watched Simpsons and
Great North.
Great North. It was No Bob's Burgers this week.
I think it's on Sunday.
Okay. Those were fun as well.
Or today when you're listening to this.
Well, yes. I would say that off the conversation from last week talking about our favorite TV shows, I have decided to go back and watch True Blood all the way through again. It was my favorite.
If only you wanted to do bad things with me.
Notice how the conversation keep going back to certain places.
That's a lot of frustration. Anyways, True Blood.
Any hoozles. If you listened last week, this was my #1 favorite show of all time, so I decided to go back and watch it yet again because I love it.
And the first time you heard Richard Cheese without realizing it.
Yes.
Because he did Personal Jesus in one of the songs, and you just don't realize that.
It's true.
Yeah, what's it like to go back to it again?
Oh, it's fun. Like, I mean, I've seen it a few times now more than a few times at this point. I've watched it quite a few times.
And you made me watch it.
I did. At this point, I know the story. I know what's gonna happen and stuff. But it's just fun to kick back and just see it again. And Eric Northman, oh boy,
Absgard.
Yeah.
I enjoyed him in Infinity.
Yes. Yes.
No, do you, like, when you think about True Blood, like, do you think there's any story left to tell?
No.
Because there was talks they were gonna reboot it at one point. I don't know if that's still gonna happen, especially since the Warner Brothers merger and all that stuff.
I mean, they could do a completely new story in this universe, but, like, the story from before, no, I don't think so.
Would you be upset if they like used the same characters, but they used different people, or if they tried to change things?
I wouldn't want them to do the same character stuff. I mean, if they did a completely new story with new characters, if they did it right, I'd watch it.
Well, that's why I'm curious, because there is a reboot that we didn't discuss in the news.
Okay.
As we officially heard in June, The Crow reboot is coming out. We did not talk about this. With
true.
Clint Howard, Bill Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling about this? As probably the biggest Crow fan that I will ever know.
Yeah, I do love The Crow. I mean, I'll watch it. I'm not holding out any hope. I mean, I love the first Crow, and that's it. Like, the other ones were just not up to par.
Is that also true of Candyman? I know a lot of people said the first one's worth watching, but the other two are not.
I mean, it's by far the best, but I do enjoy the other two with Candyman.
Okay.
And I like the remake too. So I guess I'm not expecting much, but I'm gonna watch it though. I'm gonna watch it. So.
Oh, I know we're going to the theaters to watch it.
Yeah, so we'll see.
But also, we're going to the theaters to see The Crow.
Yes, the original. Yes.
Yeah, we actually bought tickets for Alamo.
We did.
Which first time we've ever done that. Like
I know,
months in advance.
Yes.
But at the end of March, 30th anniversary basically screening of The Crow.
Yeah, just like a month and a half early, right around.
I imagine that they're doing this is because the reboot's going to be out in June.
Yeah.
And they want people to focus on the new version, not the original.
That could be.
Brandon Lee. The world would have been a better place had he not died.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's just so sad that him and his dad had to die so tragically.
I know. Ugh.
Sorry to bring everything down.
No, that's okay.
Movies. You didn't have anything,
I
right?
haven't watched any movies.
No watching movies behind my back like last week?
No, just mainly True Blood. Yeah.
Just True Blood.
Yeah.
And of course, all the Family Guy references of True Blood.
Yes.
That's, I want to say, but again, we're trying to make it clean.
Yes. Mm-hmm. We'll move on to some music.
Yeah. Time for some music.
So we checked out quite a few singles this week.
Did you write any of the names down or just band names?
Just the band names I wrote down.
I apologize for this, folks, but if you just go look up the band names plus 2024, you'll see the first singles.
Exactly.
We're not looking at the computer screen here, folks, so
Vad and Block.
Vad and Block
first. Not quick. What did you think of them?
Well, that was the first one that you heard.
Well, yeah, sure.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love their progressive power metal sound. It's got that German tinge to it as well.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes they go in directions that's not really for me.
Yeah.
But other times they just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I think they hit the nail on the head with this one.
Yeah, I really like this single. They're one of those bands I've always seen the name, but I've never really taken the time to listen to. So maybe I'll have to give them a little bit more of a listen now.
Yeah. They have a lot of albums, so you have a lot of catching up to do.
Yes. Up next was Rotting Christ.
Yeah, and you had some preconceived notions on Rotting Christ.
So this is another band that I've seen the name of forever, but I've never listened to because I just always assumed.
Was it the band name? Is that why you
never
checked them out?
I definitely assumed they sounded a certain way. So yeah. I just assumed they were. I mean, they are a heavy band. They're very kind of enslaved-ish, like you said. But yeah, I was not expecting that. I was expecting way heavier, like no melody at all, just like super screaming.
Just like that raw black metal sound is what you were expecting.
Yeah, or super like heavy death metal or something, you know.
And what did you think of the song?
It was pretty good. I mean, I don't think it'd be my favorite, but like, it was way better than I anticipated.
I think I need to throw Rotting Christ onto the spin the choice wheel.
Okay.
Because I think the last several Rotting Christ albums would be up your alley.
Yeah.
Because if you like this, there's elements on the previous albums that you would enjoy.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they did start off as a very raw black metal band like Enslaved did. They're like the Greek Enslaved.
Okay.
And if it makes you feel any better, Dave Mustaine kicked them off a tour because of that band name. So if that makes you want to check them out a little bit more.
That is pretty funny.
Also, Dave Mustaine has been in the news this week talking about how no one should talk crap about other musicians.
Okay.
But he spent decades doing that.
Yeah.
And kicking people out because they weren't up to his standard.
Yeah.
I get it. A change of heart.
Apparently so.
Sorry for that. I love this song.
Mm-hmm.
I put it in my Song of the Day list, which, if you're not familiar with, I am doing a Song of the Day on Spotify, where I pick out a different song every day. Some days it's multiple because I'm either not feeling up to it or I forget. Mm-hmm. This is another day as we're recording this where I have put 3 up, or potentially 4 tomorrow.
Yes.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to do one for every day of the year, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. You can also see where my emotional state is at, depending on what it's at. Like it started off a Power Paladin, then it went to Woods v Prey, and
it's like, ooh, he felt hard.
Yeah. You can see the peaks and valleys a lot. But yes, if this is any example of what the new Rotting Christ is going to sound like, I think it's going to be ranked pretty high up at the end of the year.
All right. Up next, The Absence.
Yes. A good friend of mine, Jeremy Kling, is part of this band. He's either drum teched or drummed for a lot of different metal bands in different ways, shape, form. He's also now the drummer of Deicide now, which I did not see coming, but I guess Florida makes sense.
Yeah.
This is more of kind of like the melodeath metalcore band that he's a part of. I've seen them a few times at Station 4. That's where I first got to meet him and stuff.
Gotcha.
And he was also the drummer of Necromancing the Stone.
Okay.
When I did that interview, I taught him. I really dig it. They're kind of focusing much more on the heavier side of the death metal, melodeath side.
Yeah.
But what did you think?
I mean, I thought they were fine, but it's not really my thing. I don't know that I'd go back to it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm sure a lot of people will love this if they're into the more heavy stuff. It's just I've grown less and less into heavier music as I've gotten older.
I've said it so many times. I don't think I've said it on the show.
Yeah.
But I know I've referenced it. Maryland Deathfest killed your love of death metal. Would you care to explain while we're on this subject?
I guess I never thought about that.
I've mentioned it to you many a times.
Yeah, I probably just laughed off. I don't know if that's the case, but
well, it's just you saw so much death metal in one weekend.
I did,
and you realized how much of it you don't like. That it kind of just ruined your love of it.
I don't think it's that, but I would say maybe exposure to the local death metal scene.
Oh.
That.
Well, there's differences.
I agree. It's night and day, sound wise and everything wise, but still, just being immersed around that, like you're.
Oh, so it's my fault because I was in local bands.
No, not at all.
All right. Yeah, it's every time you bring that up, I just think of all the derogatory names I was called by people in the scene because I enjoyed things that wasn't brutal death metal.
Well, of course.
And I don't even show you brutal death metal for that reason.
Yeah.
But anyways, what do we have next?
Up next is Gatekeeper.
Yes. Mixture of death metal and doom metal. You kind of changed your thought the more that you heard this, but it was still overall you did not like it.
Yeah, I didn't like the vocals, and like it wasn't melodic enough.
Despite melodic moments going on as you were saying that.
Yeah.
I disagree. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I love the old school death metal sound, and I think Gatekeeper's doing it right. For some reason, I see like social media doesn't like them too much. I never really understood why, and I've never looked into it. I hope they didn't do anything.
I hope not.
I can't imagine they did though, but it's just case. But as of right now, I enjoy it.
Yes. Next, the botanist.
Botanist.
Yep.
This started off as a one-man band that did like very atmospheric post-black metal kind of stuff. And when I heard this, I see they've really changed things up.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I liked it. I mean, I definitely think it would be more mood music for me, but it's very interesting because there's super dark music, but then it's like super clean, like pretty male vocals like over the top of it, which you don't really see often.
Yeah, which is not how I remember the Botanist at all, because there was a lot of just pure black metal screams over the top of it.
Yeah.
Now I see that they're doing clean vocals. The production actually sounded listenable.
Yeah.
Unlike the first few Botanist albums.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give this a spin when I get the promo
I'm curious.
or after it comes out.
Up next, Freedom Call.
Yes. Let's talk about that single cover first of all.
It's pretty terrible.
Yeah. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's like 3D renderings of all four guys in the band, one in each corner, Kiss style.
Wasn't there like a Queen album like that kind of too?
Oh, well, I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, that's the music videos basically like that.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it could be the album cover too.
Maybe
but,
that.
That's the main thing I think about. But
yeah,
they were like on each corner of the album cover, and
atrocious.
If that would have been the actual album cover, it would be in all the YouTube videos that talk about the worst album covers ever made.
Yeah.
But thankfully, it's just the single cover for the title track.
Yes.
Which I don't understand because it's the title track.
Yeah.
And they have a proper album cover, which actually looks really pretty.
Yeah, I like the album cover.
Yeah, it's got like unicorns and I love the colors on it and stuff like that. It's a Freedom Call.
Everything you would anticipate from an album, a metal album.
A Freedom Call.
Yes.
Yeah. But musically, it's Freedom Call.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very AC/DC-ish. Like,
yeah.
You know what you're getting into when you hear Freedom Call. It's cheesy power metal.
Yeah.
Motivating, positive.
Yeah.
But they have a signature sound.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this isn't wildly different than anything else you've heard.
No.
But I still enjoyed it.
It's
just
fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fun. You know, it's nothing extraordinary, but it's fine. It's fine. You want Freedom Call? You got Freedom Call.
Yeah, it's coming up soon.
Up next, Aborted.
Yes. I am very, very excited about this. This is probably going to be my death metal album of the year.
Yeah.
I got the promo for it already, so I've heard the entire album. I love the entire thing from start to finish. I've always loved Aborted. Terror Vision is one of my favorite pure extreme death metal albums. And this is the first one since then where I've gotten kind of the same vibes from it.
Yeah.
They also kind of took a cattle decapitation route where there's a lot more melody and harmony going on with it, which I truly appreciate. And I think that's how you stand out in extreme metal, is by actually doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing and adding melodies and harmonies.
Yeah.
It makes the brutal stuff sound more brutal.
It does.
And the other stuff more pretty to listen to.
It's true.
And I also got a thing for abortion clinics. When I was showing you the video on YouTube, it was just like information on that.
Oh, that's funny.
But what did you think?
I like the like overarching melody of it. I appreciated that, but it still gave me just kind of a chaotic feeling, which I mean, that
is what it is.
Right, but I don't like that. I don't like the feeling of it. So
I do. It matches what's going on in my head all the time.
And,
so it's
and
very
that's
soothing.
the problem. I don't like that it matches my head.
It's very soothing.
Up next was Alcest.
Yes, this just dropped today as we're recording this. I found it to be very, very gorgeous. I love the sound that they always do with Alcest. Sometimes they go a little too indie rock.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Yep.
I didn't feel that way on this one, especially compared to other albums that they've done where it's just like pure that. On this one, they do include some black metal to it. So it takes me back to the early days of Alcest. But just like when we saw them with Anathema, you disagree.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounded like something that would come out of somebody who's living in their van outside of a state park.
Hey, that is very fashionable now. There's YouTube videos about how people trick out their vans.
I know, I follow some of them on TikTok, but I don't like their music.
Well, maybe there'll be some other songs on the album that might more your bag. And wouldn't you know it?
I'll take your word for it.
Hold on, sailor, because they're on the spin the choice wheel already.
I know.
So those words will come back to bite you, potentially.
Maybe. Up next, Blood Opera.
Blood Opera is a brand new discovery for me. The album technically comes out tomorrow.
Yes.
Or yesterday when you're checking this out. It's
Yes.
weird a band puts it out on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Horror-themed heavy metal.
Yeah.
And they're tackling like classic 80s and 90s horror movies on here.
Yes.
They got Killer Clowns from Outer Space. They got Candyman. They got Tony Todd for Candyman.
Yes.
What did you think of that particular song, Be My Victim?
I loved it. I love that sound of like kind of the new heavy metal, and I love her, so it's a perfect combination for me.
Yeah, I can't wait to check out the whole thing. Of course, I'll be talking about that in Out Today and What I Missed next week.
Yes.
I mean, how could I not?
Exactly.
And you know what? I think that's a pretty gosh darn good segue.
Well, we have one more.
Oh, we have one more.
Don't forget the Arson Choir.
Oh, the Arson Choir. My apologies.
Yes.
I love the Arson Choir. They remind me so much of bands like Dillinger Escape Plan and Every Time I Die, and they add their own influences onto there. 2 minutes, short, sweet. I hope it's an album and not just an EP this time because it goes by way fast. And you are the polar opposite.
Yeah, it's not for me. Like, way too chaotic, way too screamy, way too harsh. Just not for me.
And I love it. I love it. But now, let's go ahead and get into Out Today and What I Missed.
Now here are some of your no-name bands.
And now it's time for Out Today and What I Missed.
People either loved us or they hated us, or they thought we were okay.
With Metal Faerie checks out the albums that came out this past Friday.
Where can I find the latest releases?
And anything else that came out before that.
I just heard them on the King Biscuit Flower Hour.
What will she like or hate this time? Yes, it is out today and What I Missed, and as of recording this actually matches up because it is Friday, and this is everything that came out today.
Exactly.
And a few that I missed along the way. If you want to know my thoughts on all of this, make sure to go to heavydebriefings.weebly.com for the written version of this, or continue on with the YouTube channel and look up either the YouTube shorts or the full-length version of Out Today and What I Missed for February 23rd, 2024, where I go into depth with all of these albums. This segment is all about you, Metal Faerie, and your personal thoughts on this, which last week you really shocked me as you enjoyed almost everything.
It's true.
From last week.
It's true.
And this week you left me flabbergasted. There wasn't one album you despised in this whole list.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I was fully expecting that, and it did not happen. And I bring that up because the very first band is Amaranth.
It sure is.
With their brand new album, The Catalyst.
Yes.
So, what did you think?
So, I'll say my history of Amaranth is I love their first two albums. And the last four albums, not so much. Although I love Nils. I think I've made my love for Nils clear in previous episodes. But this is significantly better than what I've heard off of the previous four albums. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, I haven't listened to the rest of the album yet, but I'm curious. I'm curious.
Yeah, like I said in my review of it, it's the most consistent Amaranth album. So the one song that you heard kind of sounds a lot like that.
Okay.
Sometimes faster, sometimes slower.
Yeah.
It all kind of has that vibe to it. Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a potential album of the year for me with Borknagar in their 12th album, Fall.
Yes.
Now, what did you think of this?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love Icy Hot Vortex, his voice. It's mellow, but there's that times of heavy, and it's really good. It's really good. I like it.
Yeah, of course she's talking about ICS Vortex, for anyone. For anyone confused, ICX Vortex. If you're not familiar with Borknagar or his work with Dinu or solo work, gotta point that out. But yeah, as I alluded to, potential album of the year candidate for me. Then next up, we got the 10th album from the band Darkest Hour with Perpetual Terminal.
I thought this was catchy. I think I'd probably like other songs that have a little bit more clean vocals on them than this one.
And they are on here.
Yep, but I found it really enjoyable.
Yes, I love this album. A good friend of mine, Chris Norris, was on the biggest Darkest Hour albums, of course. A particular song just happens to show up with your man in True Blood.
Yes, that's true.
The first time you ever see him.
Yep, the first episode, second episode. But
yeah, and there's a reason why that has 9 million views, probably because of True Blood.
Yes.
But, it really feels like an album that came out after the pandemic. It's the most mature album that they put out dates, and I just thoroughly enjoy it. Next up is something that should be right up your alley, especially when you hear the whole thing. Mm-hmm. It is Hand of Kaliak with Corey Vekren.
Yeah, I like this. I do think it'll be a grower with me. I think I'll like it the more I listen to it, but I still thoroughly enjoyed it. I know you kind of mentioned how it reminded you of early LVT, and I love LVT.
Yes,
so
although not the early days so much. Like, you're a couple more albums in.
Oh, I love the early days too, but it's not my favorite.
That's what I just said.
What different phrasing, but whatever. Anyways.
But yes, I thoroughly enjoy this, and folk metal is still alive, even if you just have to look at it a little bit. Next up is the return album for Job for a Cowboy, with basically their sequel album to Sun Eater with Moon Healer, their first album in 10 years. No one thought this band was going to be coming back, but they came back, going from their early day deathcore sound to now progressive death metal.
I didn't think it was bad, but it's just really not my thing. I mean, I think it's a little too aggressive for me in the death metal world. I like just kind of straight up melodic death metal.
Or symphonic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
yeah,
definitely.
Symphonic and melodic are not always the same thing.
Oh, I know. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed it, and I am the prog nerd.
You is the prog nerd.
Next up, we have Dvina with 2 Wings of Ember, a side project of LVT.
Yes. I really like this. It's very different, but it reminded me like a song that should be in the horror movie Midsummer.
Yes.
I absolutely love Fabian's voice. She's the best female singer that's been in LVT. I adore her.
If the right people hear that, they're going to be chasing you down like Frankenstein's monster.
Bring it.
How dare you say Anna was not the best singer in LVT?
She has a weak voice. She has such a weak voice. Yeah, I love it. I'm excited to listen to this. It's different, but still folky and, everything that you could want,
And as alluded to, it's the second album, so you got 2 albums.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, so you got 2 albums to enjoy from this.
Yes.
And that's everything that came out today, and we got 3 new ones here from times past, at least in February anyways. First up, we got the 3rd album from Art of Anarchy, Let There Be Anarchy.
Yes.
Of course, if you're not familiar with this is Bumblefoot's band. The first album featured vocals from Scott Weiland of Stone Temple Pilots. Then he departed, and he departed life not long after.
Yes.
Second, they decided to get Scott Stapp of Creed.
Yes.
Who I think did a magnificent job on the second album, and that's the only time I've ever said that about Scott Stapp.
Yes.
Is that particular album.
Yeah.
And, of course, that ended in lawsuits.
Yeah.
When he wouldn't show up for shows and other recording sessions and stuff like that. I don't know what happened with all of that. But to carry on the tradition of Scots, they got Jeff Scott Soto.
It's just so funny.
It is. How do you get 3 Scots in a row?
It's not like Scott is even that common of a name.
But it is in the vocalist world.
Apparently.
But yes, Jeff Scott Soto, known for so many different kinds of bands and projects over the years. It's weird seeing him in a band that used to be kind of like an alternative metal grunge band.
Yeah.
And this album is way, way heavier.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I liked the chorus. Outside of that, it was so, like, it just threw me off a lot because I love love Jeff Scott Soto's voice. I love a lot of the previous things he's done, and it sounded like he was just trying to be way harsher sounding with this album or with this song.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound right. It's not enjoyable, and no.
I still say you should check out the rest of the album because they're not all like that.
Okay.
You heard the heaviest song on the album.
Yeah. And
so you gotta keep that in mind.
And maybe there'd be other stuff I like. I love Bumblefoot. But
just keep it in mind.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about Bumblefoot soon again because his other project that he's got going on, Whom Gods Destroy, has a new album coming out in March.
Okay.
And of course, Dino Jalusic, one of the best singers in the world, is a part of that. I also got the new Lords of Black, by the way. I haven't heard it yet, so I've been waiting for you, but I got that, and I can't wait to check it out.
Nice.
Yes, after that is definitely something in my wheelhouse with In Autumn, with their album What's Done Is Done. Very doomy, very melodic doom.
Yeah.
Where they have like the very clean vocals in the chorus and stuff like that. Kind of got a post-metal, gothic metal tinge to it as well. What did you think?
This is another one where it wasn't bad by any stretch, but it just didn't catch me. Like, I appreciate kind of the gothy stuff, but like then you get into the post-metal stuff and it just doesn't grab my heart like some other gothic doomy stuff does.
Can you describe that?
No, I can't. Honestly.
You say it's the post-metal stuff.
Well,
but can you describe what that is?
Maybe it's not post-metal then. Maybe it's just not the metal I'm into. I just assume post-metal, I guess.
No. I understand that.
Yeah, no.
But I'm just trying to figure out what that part is.
As of right now, I don't have scriptures for that.
All right, we'll have to work on that off.
We will.
And finally, maybe your favorites off of this, maybe not. It's the brand new album from Vanir with Epitome, a band that started off very much in the Viking metal territory, but became a very melodic and symphonic metal band, which is right up your alley.
Yeah, I liked it, but it would have been a lot more enjoyable if the symphonic elements were dialed up more. I felt like they were kind of drowned out a little bit in the mix.
Ho, mofo.
Mofo?
You heard the whole album and you said that you liked it a lot more.
Okay, well, when you played me this song, this is what I wrote, so I don't remember.
And it's the first song off the album, but the symphonics come up a lot more throughout
and
it.
that may be.
You played it and you were like doing your little singing along with the melodies and stuff that you do.
You should have told me it was the same band from the list.
I did.
Oh.
I told you. Hey, see, I told you you'd like it more.
Yeah. See, this comes back to the fact that I need to like sit down with music on my own in order for it to click in my mind. I'm such like a solo clicker type of person, you know?
Well, let's also look at this from another point of view.
Yeah.
When I was playing Infinite Wealth again.
Yeah.
And I was catching you up on parts of the story.
Yeah.
You were sitting next to me.
Yeah.
And you were trying to figure out what was going on.
Yes.
But you also said you weren't paying attention.
Sure.
I feel like that happens in more than just playing games, doesn't it?
What?
I think that's the problem. You don't keep focus.
Sometimes.
Work? Real work? Of course you do.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
When it's this? No. I have to remind you of things several times. Why? Because F me, that's why.
Oh, come on. I put in a lot of work with this, too.
I didn't say you didn't, but...
Sometimes my mind has to shut off, okay?
Anyways, I think it's time for us to get some McDonald's, relax on the TV.
Yes.
Watch some YouTube videos like we do.
Yes.
In different things.
Yes.
And just call it a night here. Thank you so very much for tuning in to episode 33 of the Heavy Debriefings podcast, which I entitled Slayer, I Barely Know Her. Of course, check out everything in the outro to figure out where to keep up with everything. Tune in next week where we have to decide our topic of the week.
We do.
We saved it for last week. We saved it for the end because we totally forgot.
Yes.
And we did it again this time.
We did.
So... I'm going to shuffle things around. I added a couple you are not aware of, but it shouldn't be too hard.
Okay.
But here we go. Spin in the choice one final time to figure out what the theme of the week. And I forgot that we did that last week, so we're going to remove that one.
Stay tuned. Hold on.
Eye in my face, huh? All right, let's try this again. Ooh, we got ourselves another genre bracket.
We do.
Now, let's see if we can actually do this one this time. Because we did so horrible.
We did
so horrible with the punk one. Let's see if we can actually do it right this time, because the rest of these are actually metal.
Yes.
So we'll figure it out from here.
Yeah.
Round and round and round cheeks.
Where that no one will go.
Oh, yeah. Oh. We have landed on doom metal.
Here we go.
Now, here's a dirty little secret that Metal Faerie doesn't want you to know. She actually likes some doom metal, but won't admit it. Yeah, I mean, they have to be fair, it has to be gothic doom or melodic doom.
Yes.
She's not into funeral doom.
No.
Or some death doom.
Yeah.
But there's got to be some gothic or symphonic or something like that to get her attention.
So now the question will be, will he let those ones win over some of his funeral doom?
You don't know what I would pick as number one.
Well, that's true. That is true.
And thankfully with this one, we have a lot more choices than we would for punk.
We do.
So make sure to tune in next week where we'll be doing the bracket fight and decide who is the top doom band of all time.
Yes.
And I can tell you this right now, no, it's not going to be Black Sabbath.
I don't even want them on the list.
Well, they're the creator of doom metal.
No, fine. We'll put them on the first and narrow them out in the first round.
Well, if we can't come up with enough bands to make even,
then
sure.
Yes.
But with those beautiful tones, you just got done hearing the Metal Faerie, and I, of course, am Josh Ronquist for the Heavy Debriefings podcast saying, embrace the skullet.